Rose families, this is Mr. Marino. I'm creating this video to show you a little bit about IXL. Been meaning to do this, but haven't had time to do so. So first thing you want to do is go to IXL.com, sign in. Cameron Ames was nice enough to let me use his username and password to show you the kid version and what it looks like. So when you sign in, it throws you into the learning and the recommendations. These are recommended skills that they recommend for him. He doesn't necessarily have to do them. The main thing here is math, so you want to click on that. This breaks it down by grades, goes pre-K all the way to calculus. So if this is something you want for your kids not in middle school, then you can always purchase that for them. This is 6th, 7th, and 8th, and Algebra 1, which is where we want them to stay. So if you see in Algebra 1, there's all sorts of different skills that they can practice, from stats all the way to comparing numbers. How that works is, so let's say add and subtract, multiply and divide integers. It says, is 13 minus negative 34 going to be positive or negative? That's going to be positive here. And so if you notice here, my SMART score went up by 10. Now as you get higher and higher, it's going to be a little bit lower each time you get a answer right. But they say about 80 is going to be proficient and 100 is mastering it. Now, we don't want you to get 100 and have like 1,000 questions here. So obviously that's not mastering it. That's just getting through as many questions as possible without thinking through the skill. So I'm going to go back to the math here. You can also break it down by topics. Addition, algebra, comparing, counting, all sorts of different things. So maybe you're struggling with fractions or graphs or integers, anything. You can look through these areas and they will recommend. Obviously, don't go to addition, facts, sum up to 10. We can do those. The skill plan is super nice. It has all the textbooks, so I'm going to go to middle school textbooks here. We use the Glencoe Math 6th and 7th. Unfortunately, they do not have pre-algebra books, but I'm going to show you what the Algebra 1 looks like. Now, it is a little bit different from the one we actually have. It's now only 10 chapters, so they've moved 11 and 12 into these 10 chapters here. But we're starting chapter 3 this week. And so if you look, 3-1, we're going to be learning graphing linear equations. Here's 4 different skills, all focused on graphing linear equations from the book that we're learning. And there's going to be 6 sections in my my chapter here, and so each one has something. And you notice solving linear equations by graphing is not a skill that they can practice on IXL. But most of them have like 2 to 3 options, as you can see as I'm going through chapters 4 and 5. And so that's super helpful. You can say, hey, what are you learning? What chapter are you on? Oh, we're on chapter 1.1, how to write variable expressions. And so you can just click on this skill and get practice that way to improve that section. It's super helpful when you're studying for a test. You may not have understood one of the sections, so you can always go back and practice that way. If you want to, here is the Common Core Standards. This is high school, so I'll click on 7th grade, for example. This is standard 7 RP.1. I don't expect you to know what any of that means, but if you notice in the books, there's standards for all the lessons, and if you see that this is the standard they're doing, then you can go and click here and then go to unit prices, for example. There is also awards. It's not really they don't give you anything, but you see he's got 6 prizes here, meaning one time he answered 100 questions. Let's see what this one is down here. He practiced for over an hour, things like that. You can also look at this diagnostic area. This gives you a test, and they kind of test where your skill level is at, and then gives you recommendations based off that. The analytics, tells you how well they're doing or how much they're using. So in the last 30 days, Cameron's done an hour and 55 minutes of this. He's answered 113 questions. It's mostly all at school. There was one day it looks like he did it at home. Um, and so then it tells you too all the times they've logged in and things like that. Trouble spots, scores, questions in progress. It's all something you can look at, but not necessary for you. I hope this video helps you guys with IXL. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me at my school email, and I will gladly answer any of them. So if your kids ever say they don't have homework and you want them to work on something, now you know how to find that and where to go from there. Thank you.